A West Tennessee congressman is now co-sponsoring federal legislation that would ban the retail sale of nitrous oxide. The move comes after Tennessee just passed a similar ban starting on July 1st. The state law follows our investigations that not only exposed while selling nitrous oxide is illegal on the street, we found it was still readily and easily purchased in vape shops in Nashville, sold in colorful containers. We also documented how a nitrous oxide addict who assisted us in our investigation died 4 months after our interview, surrounded by canisters of the drug. Congressman David Kustoff is now a co-sponsor of the federal bill that would also ban the online sale of the highly addictive gas unless it is to be used for medical purposes. So we